Portland, Oregon is not out of control. There are some people who have strong feelings.
They are not welcome to bring these federal officials into our community because they are making things worse and they're hurting people.
Their presence here is actually leading to more violence and more vandalism. They're not wanted here.
It isn't just local officials who are working overtime to downplay the lawlessness and violence plaguing the streets of Portland. The media, well, they're joining in. And they have a new group of heroes.
They're calling themselves the Wall of Moms.
These are the moms that have come out to support this cause.
A group of moms who've come out there to kind of protect these people.
Dozens of women having formed themselves into a human shield to try to protect the crowd from the federal agents. Moms are here. Leave our kids alone.
This is like Pravda, okay, Izvestia. Unbelievable propaganda. As you see in this video, the same wall of moms were part of a group actually seen trying to kick their way into the federal courthouse. Joining me now, Lara Logan, host of Lara Logan Has No Agenda on Fox Nation, and Mollie Hemmingway, senior editor at The Federalist, Fox News contributor. Mollie, the Portland moms, okay, this really took the cake. It's kind of a microcosm of the media's coverage from Portland and other cities. Pay no attention. Everything's peaceful, happy, and even homespun.
Well, you see the way that the protesters will say when they see someone filming them to put their cameras down. They don't want the violence to be shown to people. And that's understandable because they know the violence is at odds with their own agenda. That you see so many other people, like in the media, going along with that is very disturbing. And likewise, this approach of taking your most sympathetic members and putting them as the face of what's going on, this is a very common tactic in paramilitary organizations to do that, you know, hide your weaponry in schools or hospitals and whatnot. But again, to see the media going along with that and doing these puff pieces is very disturbing.
Now, Lara, I want to play for you what one BLM protester was caught on tape actually saying. Watch.
Hi, everyone. As many of you know, my name is Lilith Sinclair. I'm an Afro-Indigenous, non-binary local organizer here in Portland, organizing for the abolition of not just the militarized police state, but also the United States as we know it.
This is the goal of more of these folks, and the media, of course, would ever let on. Is that not the case, Lara?
Well, you know, Laura, I take their word for it, right? Because this woman is not the only one to say that. They say it every single day all over the internet on thousands of sites. They also have sprayed it all over the walls of the cities where there have been riots, all Democrat-controlled cities, by the way. And I say that because it's very significant that these riots are taking place in areas that are where the Democrats can control the messaging. Why? Because when you bring in federal agents, you upset all of that. Now you don't just have local district attorneys, you're bringing in assistant U.S. attorneys are coming with those federal agents. The people on the ground who are committing crimes, they can't just be released from prison because now they're being charged with federal crimes. They're facing much more significant charges and longer sentences. And it's also showing how effective local law enforcement and federal law enforcement can be when working together, all of which is outside the control of city officials who, you know, I've been talking to people on the ground in some of these places, and they're just saying that they're tired of being ignored, that there's a group of radicals and a small group who've taken over the city councils, who've taken over the messaging, and who are out there on the streets, and they don't represent everyone in these cities. It's not true that everyone in Portland feels this way, but the media isn't even talking to these people. And what you're talking about with the moms, you know, this is why I love Mollie, right? Because she's so right. These are deception tactics. They're being used. This is an information war. And they've been trying to say that federal authorities are being misused or overused, painting the president in their strategic messaging as some kind of dictator. And that's because they don't want this tactic being used because it's effective.
Yeah, let me jump on what you just said there, because the rioters are portrayed as the new freedom riders. They're not rioters, they're freedom riders. And then the police, any law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, are being demonized, including by Joy Reid. Watch.
He's using that trumped-up charge to justify what in any other country, particularly an authoritarian one, would be called the secret police. They need to have his secret police There's the secret police aspect of it. Whether these federal secret police, the deploying of secret police, it's a secret police sort of, vibe, and using his own secret police.
The former Attorney General there, that's just embarrassing. Mollie, secret police that happen to have clearly marked uniforms that are protecting federal property. Boy, the tables are turned here.
It's not just that they are clearly marked as police or that they have identifying badges on them, but also when people are attacking federal courthouses, that is a federal concern. When they're going after federal personnel, as they did in Lafayette Park in Washington, D.C., that's a federal concern. And there's actually an obligation to restore law and order. The entire country benefits from how cases are handled at the Mark O. Hatfield Courthouse in downtown Portland, not just the few citizens of Portland. And so even if the Portland mayor wants to allow mobs to control his city, it still is of concern to the rest of the country. And ideally, cities would be handling these issues better on their own, and there would be no need for any federal law enforcement agents to have to risk their lives because the mob has gotten out of control. But when cities don't handle their own business and states don't handle their own business, there is a role for the federal government to play. And in fact, not just a role, but an obligation.
Yeah, Laura, I was going to play something else from MSNBC.
Laura, can I jump in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to jump in there and say something, because I was on the border with BORTAC and BORSTAR. I was out with these forces. These are highly trained forces. They know exactly what they're doing. They are special operations level inside the Border Patrol. When they're deployed like this, they have markings. They have police on the front of their vest. They have it on the back. On both of their arms, they have both the Border Patrol patches and the BORTAC patches. And just because local officials and journalists and idiots on the streets there who are rioting, they can't look up what that patch means and they don't know who these people are, doesn't mean that they haven't been identified. And it's very significant that people are lying about this. That's just astonishing to me.
Well, I think they know exactly what they're doing. They're not mistaking it. They know it's a lie. That's the real problem here. And by the way, we found out yesterday that at least one of the injured officers may not recover the sight in his eyes because he was hit repeatedly. So there are real ramifications, physical safety, physical health and well-being on top of all of the demonization that's going on here. Ladies, phenomenal analysis as always. Thank you so much.